Hey there ladies and gentlemen, good morning. You are watching AMS Live, my name is Boy. It is Monday, July 3rd, 2023. This is Finnair, an A319 arriving from Helsinki. We're at the Polderbaan. And this A319 in the One World livery just touched down. It is windy, as you guys can probably tell. The camera was following a little bit shakily because the wind is perpendicular to the camera. It is blowing from the west, more or less, between 14 and 16 knots. It was a bit of a gamble coming over here. Yesterday morning, for a period of time, they closed the Polderbaan and opened Buitenveldebaan runway 27 for arrivals. At the moment, Polderbaan is the only runway open for arrivals. So we have wind more or less perpendicular to the direction of the runway heading. And with this wind speed, it makes for a little bit of crabbing. Goedemorgen Koenie, Benjamin and Marius. Good morning folks. Hope you are all doing well. We're now watching Emirates Sky Cargo Flight 9916 arriving from Aguadilla. A Boeing 777 freighter, 9 years old. First flight of this airplane was in September 2013. Should be touching down in a few seconds after almost 8 hours of flight time. Hey, goedemorgen Rolf, good morning. We can already see the next airplane behind it. An A320 from SAS arriving from Copenhagen. Hey, goedemorgen Veldi. Wie geht's? En goedemorgen Martin. From the freeloader. The wheel loader. I misread. Hey Remco. Hey Belinda. Goedemorgen, good morning. So yeah, hopefully this time around ATC will keep the Polderbaan open all throughout the morning. As you guys can see, with the current prevailing wind, it makes for nice crabbing. Now runway 24 is used for departures, as you guys can see. Basically the same runway configuration as yesterday. Now overall, you can see it is cloudy. This is looking to the east, this is looking to the south, over to the west, always a bit brighter, less cloud formation over sea than over land. This is facing north. Hey there CJ, good morning. Adebos Kasil Jr., good afternoon. Also checking in again from Indonesia. Welcome my friend, hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a good Monday. Your day is already over. Now, it is lovely weather for some plane spotting, crosswind, and this is the only runway open for arrivals at the moment. Fingers crossed it's going to stay that way for as long as possible. In the foreground, SAS flight 2551, an A320 arriving from Copenhagen. Left an hour and 5 minutes ago from Copenhagen, and the airplane is 17 years old. First flight was in June 2006. Behind it we are seeing a Turkish Airbus A330, and we are going to see a few more heavies after that. Look at that. Two A330s coming this way in the foreground. Turkish A330-300 arriving from Istanbul in the background. An A330neo from Delta arriving from Minneapolis. Hey, good evening, the Hobart Aviation fan. Hope you've had a good day. Salut Jean-Yves, bonjour. Thank you so much. I saw the counter was at 5,000 precisely, and it always goes up and down 1 or 2 a day. So I figured let's wait until we have passed the 5K level a bit further to call for celebrations. Modest, really even. Hey, good morning Mert and Dale, good morning. Martin informing us 747 around the end of the morning, 11:23. Hey, guten Morgen Mario. Schön, dass du auch wieder dabei bist. So, next up is Delta Airlines, flight 160, arriving from Minneapolis after 7.5 hours of flying. This A330neo is 3 years old. First flight of this airplane was in September 2019. The next airplane after this A330neo is going to be an A320neo from SAS arriving from Oslo. After that, looks like a 737-700 will be arriving. An Embraer 190, and there's also a 777-300 arriving from Johannesburg from KLM that is now flying downwind. And I'm looking to my left. As I was walking over here, I noticed that I could also see the airplanes that fly just in front of the coast that are flying downwind. Maybe I can show you later. Now, apologies for the shaky image. It is windy and the wind also affects the smoothness of following. Now, particularly when you are moving the camera at relative high speed, such as when the airplane passes right in front of you, the wind doesn't affect the following that much, but for the slower movements, wind gusts affect the speed with which you, and also the smoothness of following. So that's not me getting early onset Parkinson's or maybe the tripod having a defect. That is just the effect of the wind and being in an open field, unfortunately. I'm still looking to my left to see if maybe I can show you also some airplanes that are flying downwind, but there isn't any. The only one I'm seeing is on flight radar the 747, and it is already too far to the north. Nothing is coming directly behind it, so let's just zoom in on what is coming in on the glide slope. Hey there, Yorkshire. Good morning, my friend. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Gosse, goedemorgen. And thank you so much, Gosse. Don't know what the counter is on at the moment. It was exactly on 5k this morning, so I figured, well, it typically goes up and down 1 or 2 a day. So let's just wait and call for celebrations once we've crossed the line a bit more significantly. If you just tuned in, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. It is Monday morning. We are standing next to the Polderbaan, currently the only runway in use for arrivals, and as you guys can see, we have crosswind. Wind is blowing almost perpendicularly to the runway heading from the west. These airplanes are landing to the south, and the wind speed is 14 to 16 knots. It was a bit of a gamble coming over here because yesterday, for a period of time when we had similar wind conditions, they did close the runway and switched to runway 27, the Polderbaan, near the McDonald's. I'm hoping that today they won't be doing that and that we are going to see arrivals on this runway all morning. Time will tell. Now this SAS, really quiet. 737 coming over here, that just took off. Hey. I was watching flight radar and I was wondering what the F is going on. An aborted landing. I guess that the SAS did not clear the runway quickly enough. Georgian Airways going around. It was supposed to come next. I was already looking at flight radar and I was wondering, it is going 90 degrees to the left. It's directly going to the west, but it is now flying, for your orientation, it is now flying away from the runway to the northwest. Going to join the traffic pattern and try again later. I guess it had to do with the runway not being cleared quickly enough. The SAS was taking its time a little bit. So, up next. In the foreground, KLM flight 982. An Embraer 190 arriving from London City, and behind it is a big bird, KLM flight 592 777-300 ER arriving from Johannesburg. In the meantime, good morning to all new viewers in the chat. Mr. Pizza, Jan Hendricks, Ian, good morning. Wendy, goedemorgen. Hey there, Cal, good morning. This is the new runway indeed, where it takes so long to get to the terminal building. This is it, the Polderbaan, runway 18 right, 36 left, exactly. Okay, and Jan is saying that the Zwanenburgbaan, runway 18 Central will also be used later in the morning. Well, as long as they keep the Polderbaan open, that's the most important thing. Yesterday they did close it altogether, which is quite rare, given that this is one of the two preferential runways of Schiphol Airport, together with Kaagbaan, runway 0624. That means that these two are basically almost always open and in use whenever possible, and only during maintenance or special weather conditions will they close one of the two or both. And so Polderbaan closing temporarily yesterday was rather exceptional. I'm hoping it was a one-off occurrence and not something that they are going to repeat today. But yeah, as I said before, only time will tell. Hey Frank, goedemorgen. Good morning. Hans-Joachim, guten Morgen. Herzlich willkommen. Here is another big bird. KLM 592 777-300 ER arriving from Johannesburg. 10 hours and 26 minutes of flying time. This airplane 11 years old. First flight was in June 2012. Now crosswind or not, if you can make a wheelie, seize the moment and do so. That's what the pilot must have thought. Hey Camille, salut! Comment ça va? Our French friends also represented again. We have people from down under tuning in. Nice. GHXSTY. Goedemorgen. How about that for a tongue breaker? Now, let me look at flight radar. Zoom a bit out. No traffic passing up north via the coast. I was surprised. I initially thought I wouldn't be able to see it, but then I accidentally did see it, and now I know where to look for when the airplanes flying downwind for Polderbaan are flying just off the coast. They are visible when weather conditions when visibility is sufficiently clear. So that is nice. It means that interesting planes you can follow a bit further and longer from in advance. Are you making Camille work hard, Jean-Yves? Hey Timo, goedemorgen. Gaat goed, gaat goed. It is a bit windy over here. I am wearing my AMS live hoodie. And I'm happy that I chose to wear it because it is a bit chilly with the wind, even when the sun is shining. Now it is said that here and there, and I think it was particularly in the north of the country, an isolated shower might form and some precipitation might fall. So far, looking over here, there's nothing of the sorts developing. This is the direction the wind is coming from, and yeah, well, need I say more? Let's see. Another departure from runway 24. Still, I did have it, but then I lost it again. Now the pipeline for Polderbaan the moment a bit empty. It is the second attempt of the 737-700 from Georgian Airways. Arriving from Tbilisi, flight 9651. Flight time 4 hours and 58 minutes at the moment. This airplane is 13 years old. Its first flight was in November of the year 2009. So this is the second attempt at landing after an aborted landing, which I think was caused by the preceding SAS not having vacated the runway in time. It was a bit slow, probably a bit too slow. And an otherwise uneventful landing, nicely done. I haven't seen the firefighters yet, so I'm wondering if we might still see them, if they are doing a daily round each day, unless they were really early this morning. Goedemorgen, good morning Holland Wings, Eriko in inertial system, good evening. 3:55 p.m. for you. I'm hearing an engine. Looking up, don't see anything. That's unfortunate. Now, lovely vista over here. This is directly to the east. Beautiful how the clouds are illuminated by the sun. Lucas-san, good morning, checking in from Brazil. You're up early. Hope everybody is doing well on this Monday morning over here, at least it is. Seems that there is a momentary lull in incoming traffic. There is an A320neo arriving from London Gatwick from EasyJet that is flying towards the coast from the west. Also an E2 Embraer 195 is arriving from Berlin and is now flying in the vicinity of Lelystad, also coming this way by the looks of it. So it should be a few minutes before the next traffic will become visible. Now, over here in the water, all is quiet, unfortunately. Although, nah, that's no, those are not birds. All the way over here, not much to be seen. Also further out, now if I'm not mistaken, the summer holiday in the Netherlands, the school holidays, don't begin until next week, so I don't know whether or not the birds took an early vacation just to cut some costs, not be too expensive. Hey Roy, goedemorgen. Alles goed? Bisnovat, goedemorgen, good morning. Now, I was seeing, oh yeah, there it is. A departure from runway 24, but it looks like it is flying to the southwest, so away from us, not coming this way. obviously from over here you are able to see traffic from runway 24 taking off. You can also see the traffic that has just landed taxi back to the main platform area. And you can clearly see the distance between this runway and the main platform area. This is the dedicated ATC control tower that was built especially for the traffic using this runway. Now the 737 from Georgian Airways is still underway. It has to go back to behind the shed and the trees. You can see the airplanes in the background. That is where the main platform area is. That's where the main terminal building and the gates are. It is also where the original ATC control tower is located, directly next to the main terminal building. So this is the location where you have that significant taxi. Now in the meantime, I can see on flight radar that our next incoming traffic is just about to turn final. I'm not seeing anything yet. Pretty sure that's just a matter of a few minutes. The A320 Neo from EasyJet will arrive first. Let's see, there's also a CRJ from SAS underway, Croatia Airlines A319. Let's see. Gradually looks like a morning of gradual influx of traffic. I think we are seeing the I was seeing it on the I was seeing it on the laptop, but looking on my 3-inch screen with reflections in the outdoors is a bit more challenging, but there it is. Our next airplane, EasyJet A320 Neo. EasyJet flight 28674, arriving from London Gatwick. Short flight, 35 minutes. And this airplane relatively new, 3 years old. First flight was in July 2019. And Erico inertial system, I'm doing well, thank you for asking. We're just waiting a little bit. Ooh, and I do see a nice contrail also here, relatively close by. So the weather is a bit more favorable for looking at traffic above, provided it doesn't go behind clouds. I do see some contrails here and there, that is good news. Those are also fun to look at. Now, an E2 Embraer 195 is flying base. We'll be arriving from the right in the background. Not sure if we can see that. I think the clouds might be in the way. Now you can see that the pilots have to work to fight the crosswind. But that's nice for us. Job well done. Next up will be an E2 Embraer 195 arriving from Berlin, from KLM. I think I just about see it in the distance. Let me see if I can also show you on camera. There it is. So this is KLM flight 1822, E2 Embraer 195 arriving from Berlin after, what was it, 59 minutes of flight time. The PHNXH. The airplane is a year old, first flight was in February of the year 2022. You can even see the passage of the clouds in the background. Makes for a lovely view. And yes, Lucas, indeed, crosswind, almost 90 degrees versus the runway heading. It was 14 to 16 knots or so. Oh, and some birds in the foreground. In the meantime, a little bit of activity over here in the water. A single coot. I don't see any other at the moment. But then again, it is Monday morning, it is still early. Our next airplane, just about visible in the distance, SAS CRJ 900, operated by XFly, arriving from Stockholm after an hour and 44 minutes of flight. CRJ 900 long range, 15 years old, first flight was in January 2008. Behind it will be an A319, and you can just about see it come to the glide slope from the right. Croatia Airlines, flight 450, arriving from Zagreb. An hour and 40 minutes of flying right now. A 25-year-old A319. Hey there Mo, good morning. 4-month countdown and KLM 1542 will take me to Schiphol. Awesome! So that is 120 or so days. The countdown has begun. Here we have Croatia Airlines flight 450 A319 arriving from Zagreb. 1 hour and 42 minutes of flight time at the moment. This airplane began its career as a professional airplane in May 1998, which makes it 25 years old. Let me try and see if we can get the footage a bit less shaky by re-enabling image stabilizer. It will not fully mitigate all vibrations caused by the wind, but it will reduce it to some extent. You do get some over and undershooting, so let's see how it balances out. Now, it's the quiet before the storm, ladies and gentlemen, because looking at flight radar and a bit further out, there is a nice stream of traffic coming from all sides. And given the fact that this was, at least until just now, the only runway for arrivals, let me double check that. Well, that still seems to be the case. Fingers crossed it's going to stay that way in actuality. So for those of you just tuning in, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. We're standing next to the Polderbaan, where we have crosswind conditions. It is the only runway in use for arrivals, and we are expecting more traffic within the next 20 minutes or so. Wind relatively firm, although not extremely gusty. It is rather constant, blowing from the west. Airplanes landing on Polderbaan are landing to the south, so the wind is almost 90 degrees perpendicular to the runway heading, which makes for nice crabbing, as you already saw. Also checking what the latest METAR is. Give an update in the ticker. The wind has increased a little bit to 17 knots. Hey Paul, goedemorgen. Good to see you again, Steve 88. Goedemorgen, good morning. Hope you guys all had a good weekend. Perry, goedemorgen, good morning. So if you look in the ticker, this is the latest METAR. It is from 7:55 Zulu time, so that is 9:55 Central European time, so almost half an hour ago. The wind is blowing with 17 knots from 260 degrees, varying the direction of the wind between 210 degrees and 280 degrees. Visibility 10 kilometers or more. Few clouds at 2,600 feet. The temperature is 17 degrees Celsius. The dew point 10 degrees. Air pressure about the same as yesterday, 1009 hectopascal. And no significant wheelies are allowed. Hey Nelly, goedemorgen, good morning. Alles goed? So yeah, we have wind. Now all we need is airplanes. The first airplane to arrive, just about visible in the distance. So I have now enabled image stabilizer, which probably reduces the vibration of the wind a little bit, but it can introduce some overshooting and undershooting when making left, right or up, down movements. So let's see if overall this is better or worse than having it off. This is an EasyJet A319 arriving from London Luton, flight 22517, left London 33 minutes ago, and this airplane is 16 years old. Its first flight was in September 2006. Hey Jolanda, goedemorgen. Fijn dat ik op deze maandagochtend weer van de beelden kan genieten. Well, I'm happy that you're enjoying the footage. Hopefully it's not too shaky. Over here, beautiful clouds. And also traffic taking off from runway 24, passing by to the left of me. Looking at flight radar, more traffic is coming from left and right. So it is actually going to pick up. Now let's see how this EasyJet will do. So far the wind has been rather constant. Not too gusty. I think that makes it easier for the pilots to put the airplane on the ground because their wind has become a constant, relatively speaking. Seems that following is going relatively okay. Oh, few nudges left and right. Now the next airplane will be arriving shortly. Daarom, Boeing 737, now flying to base from the right. After that, United Airlines Dreamliner arriving from San Francisco. They are still a bit out, but they will become visible shortly. And in the meantime, I saw a nice super chat from Mol. Let's get the week going. Thank you so much for that, Mol. I really appreciate it. You're really kind and thank you so much. Now let's get the week going. As far as I'm concerned, I'm ready. Let's get those planes over here. Mind you, this is the only runway open for arrival, so all inbound traffic is coming to this runway. You'd think that Schiphol has been on strike or something. We have a little slow start, but let me just show you once again the clouds that are to the right of me. Isn't it beautiful? A very Dutch picturesque sight to look at. Zooming in a little bit so that you don't see the furry dead cat of my microphone. I'm going to turn around the camera back to the north because I see some lights in the distance. That means the first airplane has become visible. Should be Tarom, arriving from Bucharest. Now where... Huh. Ah, there it is. So against a milky backdrop, it is actually incredibly hard to see such a small airplane when it is still so far out. On the laptop screen, it is so much easier to see. So this is Tarom flight 361, Boeing 737-800, arrival from Bucharest after 2 hours and 33 minutes, about to touchdown. The airplane, 6 years old, first flight April 2017. Behind it is United Airlines flight 968, Boeing 7879 Dreamliner, arriving from San Francisco. 9 hours and 14 minutes underway. First up, this Tarom. Very nicely done. Doesn't do that much for the shakiness during panning, which is caused by the wind and is very hard to mitigate by image stabilizer. Struggling to find the right configuration to give as smooth as possible footage. Hey Thijs, goedemorgen. Me, myself, good morning. Indeed, westerlies at Polderbaan, grabbing aircraft. Hey there, Jono. Good morning, mate. Hope you're doing well. Now, looking at flight radar, we have a filled pipeline. Back-to-back traffic once again, and a nice mixture of heavies and narrow bodies to boot. Here we have a 7879 Dreamliner arriving from San Francisco. She is underway for 9 hours and 16 minutes. It is 7 years old, this airplane. First flight November 2015. Maybe let's switch to standard image stabilizer. I just had dynamic enabled, now I'm trying standard, see if that makes a difference. Right now 2 airplanes are visible. In the foreground, EasyJet A319 arriving from Prague, underway for an hour and 14 minutes. 14-year-old airplane, first flight March 2009. Behind it is a Transavia 737-800 arriving from Palma de Mallorca. 2 hours and 6 minutes of flight time. 13-year-old airplane, first flight May 2010. Hey Koenie, goedemorgen. Number 3, also visible in the bottom left corner, more or less. 777-200 arriving from New York JFK. That all in a few minutes. First up, the EasyJet A319. Looks like we will be getting a butt shot. Yes, it is taking the first exit, vacating the runway. A nice shot of its behind. Spoilers down. Will we also be seeing the flaps retract? Not yet. Clownfish ass. Hey Ina, guten Morgen. Good to see you again. Oh. You don't even get time to linger and watch airplanes behind. You have to be quick. Right, folks, if you just tuned in, welcome to AMS Live. You're watching arrivals on Polderbaan, currently the only runway for arrivals. My name is Boy. We have wind blowing from the west and airplanes landing to the south. The wind is almost 90 degrees, perpendicular to the runway heading, which means crabbing. More airplanes visible in the background. This is KLM flight 644, a 777-200 arriving from New York JFK. She's underway now for 6 hours and 11 minutes, about to touch down. And the airplane is 19 years old. First flight was in April 2004. Now, hey Donna, good morning. UK 9:30 check-in. Well, a warm welcome to you, Dana. Two airplanes visible in the distance. First up, A319 Lufthansa arrival from Munich. Second, another 777-200 from United this time round, arriving from Houston, Texas. This is Lufthansa flight 2302, A319, 12 years old, 1 hour and 10 minutes underway to arrive from Munich in the south of Germany, over here in windy Amsterdam. They are struggling with the wind a little bit. So far only one go around, and that was an aborted landing, probably because the runway was still occupied. No touch and goes or anything. Does seem that the clouds are intensifying a little bit, where it was also still more blue to the west, which is where I'm pointing the camera to right now. You can see that there are more clouds forming. Hopefully none of them will evolve into rain showers, at least not until I'm done with streaming and back with my equipment to my car. This is United Airlines flight 20, Boeing 777-200, arriving from Houston, Texas, 8 hours and 35 minutes underway. She's 24 years old. First flight was in February 1999. At the moment, two runways are used for departures, runway 24 and runway 18 left. We did see an airplane take off from 18 left just now. Backdrop is a bit more threatening, looks more like rain if you look at it. Hopefully it's going to stay dry. Good idea to also have a look at the weather radar in a minute. Hey there, Heathrow fan. Hey there. Good morning, Ronald. So in the north, where Wendy is living, it is raining again. Did also see earlier in the morning, looking at Buienradar, the weather radar, that there were a few showers in the northern provinces and in the southern provinces. In the middle of the country was dry. Hopefully it's going to stay that way. We'll have a look later. First up, Transavia, arriving from Olbia, 737-800. 2 hours and 3 minutes underway, about to touch down. The airplane 9 years old. First flight was in February of the year 2014. Hey there, Joner, good morning. Checking in from vacation in Portugal. And Chablo, good morning, checking in from Florida. So that's an early morning for you then, Chablo. 6 hours earlier than mainland Europe. 4:38 a.m. right now, I guess. 2 airplanes visible in the foreground. A Boeing 737 from KLM arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle. In the background, a TUI Dreamliner arriving from Bonaire, where it is also windy, but a bit warmer and a bit more sunny. This is a classical KLM landing, keeping up the speed, staying on the runway, roll out on the runway and vacate late. Reduce the taxi time to the gate as much as possible. Oh, and it seems that they have reopened runway 18 center. It was already predicted. Now, by the looks of it, it has also been implemented. Little Embraer going to 18 center. Now over here we have TUI flight 703, a Dreamliner 787-8 arriving from Bonaire. 8 hours and 46 minutes of flight time. The airplane 8 years old. First flight of this airplane was in March 2015. Hey there, Denimouse, about to check in for a short flight to Birmingham, Birmingham probably, departing around 12:45. Excellent. Hey there, John, good morning. Enjoyed yesterday's stream. He says, back again tonight. I'm happy to hear that you enjoyed it, man. Thank you so much for your kind words. Let's see. .747 from Saudia, arriving from Jeddah, will be going to runway 18 center. They have reopened it and we are out of luck in that respect. We will be able to see it though. I think I already have it. So this is a Boeing 737 arriving from London Heathrow. Let's forgo it. I did have it. Oh, it's still... Okay. It should be here somewhere. There we go. Hey Judith, goedemorgen. Checking in from Deventer. And folks, we're now looking at a Boeing 747 that will not be landing on this runway, but will be landing on the center runway. It is Saudia Cargo, flight 933, arriving from Jeddah after 5 hours and 25 minutes of flight time. The airplane is 28 years old. Its first flight was in December 1994. So even though it is not landing on this runway, we can still see it quite well. That is the upshot of standing here. KLM Dreamliner arriving from Cartagena in the meantime. In the meantime, there's a vehicle coming this way. You might be hearing it. Time to focus on the traffic at this runway again. Hey there, C. Glansdorp checking in. Core in Sayalonga, Malaga, Spain. Good morning. Samantha, goedemorgen. So, this is KLM flight 696. It is a Boeing 7879 Dreamliner arriving from YYZ or Toronto, Canada. It is on her way now for 6 hours and 32 minutes, this airplane. She is 7 years old. Her first flight was in June 2016. Yes, Sam, we are having a lot of crosswind at the moment, if you average, with 17 knots. And these airplanes are landing at 90 degree angle versus the prevailing wind. So definitely crabbing in action. Unfortunately, it also makes for a lot of vibrations when filming. I think that the current setting of image stabilizer is okay-ish. Good morning to Mark and Brian. Brian, who is tuning in from Minnesota. So that is 7 hours time difference with mainland Europe. Either way, very early still. Begs the question, are you up early or are you still up? Two airplanes visible in the distance, ladies and gentlemen. In the foreground, a KLM 737-800 arriving from Edinburgh. KLM flight 1278 underway for 57 minutes. That seems short. The airplane is 15 years old. First flight was in February 2008. Behind it is a Boeing 7879 Dreamliner arriving from Las Vegas. Hey WD Computer, good morning. Ashwin, goedemorgen. If I'm missing people announcing their presence in the chat, apologies for that. Good morning to everybody who I forgot to say hi to. You're watching AMS Live and these are Crosswindy arrivals on the Polderbaan. But that doesn't mean that you don't get to make wheelies if you can. No record breakers like we saw last week, but still nice considering the weather conditions. Maybe even quite a performance. Hey there, Larry, good morning. Still up, Larry. Work the overnight shift for 37 years. Man, that's a long time. Hope you're doing well. From what I read, doing night shifts for prolonged periods of time is not the most healthy thing to do. Hopefully only on occasion, not structurally, like every week. Anyway, this is a KLM Dreamliner arriving from Las Vegas, flight 636-787-9 Dreamliner, 9 hours and 16 minutes underway, about to touch down here. And she is 7 years old. First flight was in April 2016. Now, I haven't seen the firefighters yet. Not sure if they are also... I'm sure that their round is a daily one. They must have been early or they are going to be late. Either way, I haven't seen them as I was walking over here or while I was setting up. So we might still see them later. Not sure. We'll see. And thanks for the kind words, Paul. The pictures I'm making are really great, hardly any vibes. I now have standard image stabilizer on. There was also a dynamic setting that I was using earlier. I think it overshot when panning and tilting a little bit. This still does, but less so, I think. While it does reduce the vibrations from the wind somewhat, in my opinion. Probably better than not having any image stabilization active right now. And Chabla was saying, I'm still up in Florida, I got ear surgery in 5 hours. Hopefully that is not going to be too severe. All the best with your surgery later then, Chablo. And me myself, I also haven't seen the ducks. They are still hiding. They might have gone on an early holiday. I was hearing on the news that our school holidays are beginning as of next week. I don't have any children, so I'll gladly believe it when they say that's true. That's the truth. But maybe the ducks figured, let's go before the bunch and go on an early vacation. Oh, last minute correction there. But nicely on the ground. Embraer 175. You guys already saw it in the glimpse passing by. Traffic also going to 18 center, unfortunately, but at least that's better than 27, because then we wouldn't be able to see it. And a nice Dreamliner super chat from Roy there. A little something for expenses, enjoying. Thank you so much for that, Roy. And also in the 787 super chat. That's a nice combination. Thank you so much. Hey Ton, goedemorgen. Good morning. Good to see you again. How was Eindhoven? Now, the next airplane, it was mentioned already in the chat by me myself, is an A330. It is Delta Airlines Flight 162 from Minneapolis, arriving 7 hours and 35 minutes on the way right now. A330-300, 16 years old. First flight was in November 2006. What a nice vista. Cloudy backdrop. Crabbing airplane. But are there more in the background? I don't see them. Also not on flight radar. That is a bit unfortunate. That would have been the icing on the cake, wouldn't it? And Adebos has to go already. Thank you so much for joining, my friend. And all the best in the clinic. See you next time. Oh wow. I'm thinking this might be the longest wheelie we've seen since going live. I think it is. Hey, nice. Also a C-17. Now the only time I was able to capture that on stream was when it was passing over and I coincidentally saw it. That was a very nice landing there from the pilots of the Delta A330. Looking at flight radar, it seems that for the moment the traffic is going to runway 18 center. Let me quickly have a look at runway usage. Well, both runways open for arrivals, 24 the only runway in use for departure, so not sure if that is because of a runway inspection. I do see a vehicle with flashlights on very far in the distance. There might be a runway inspection going on right now, because Polderbaan should still be open, although for the moment the airplanes arriving are directed to 18 center. I'm expecting that will only be a temporary thing. You can also hear some fireworks being set off by the bird controller, so I think they are doing a runway check. Maybe after one of the pilots reported having seen a flock of birds. Could be. So this is an E2 Embraer 195 arriving from Copenhagen, from KLM. Was the bird controller. K2 passing by. So next up is an Aegean A321 arriving from Athens. Georgian Airways Flight 3624. A 17-year-old airplane. Dare I say it, that it even gets a little bit chilly with the sun behind the clouds and the constant wind blowing here. When I was walking over here earlier in the morning, I was even thinking, oh, I shouldn't have put on my hoodie, it is too warm. But then you are moving, you always get more warm than when you are basically standing still all the time. Hey there, Lisa, good morning. Well, it is not too chilly, but it isn't very warm anymore. That is definitely something I can say for sure. Now, what always helps, particularly when the wind is blowing from behind, is to put on the hoodie of the hoodie. Get some coverage from the wind from behind, at least keep your neck a bit warmer. Next up, Boeing 737-800 arriving from Vienna, from KLM. KLM flight 1840. Underway now for an hour and 27 minutes from Vienna. Another airplane going to runway 18 center from ITA Airways, coming in from Rome, but it looks like it is the Alitalia livery and not the dark blue ITA Airways. Oh, it is the born in 2021 livery. I see it. Right, it seems that there is traffic being directed to the Polderbaan again. Looks like we are going to see a TUI Dreamliner in a few minutes. And thanks Geo YouTube for your kind words. And Thai is going to change to a more healthy, normal sleep cycle. Well, I mean, if you are a night owl by nature, then trying to force yourself to become an early bird is also probably not a good thing to do, but I think everything, as with everything, do it in moderation. Although having a constant sleep rhythm is said to be very important. So if you do go to bed late, then it's better that you do that every day than to switch back and forth a lot. So our next airplane is visible in the distance. Let me show you guys. There it is. It is TUI flight 356, arriving from Willemstad, Curaçao, so the Caribbean. The airplane is on the way now for 8 hours and 43 minutes. A 7878 Dreamliner that is 8 years old. Its first flight was in November 2014. And if you just tuned in, welcome to the show. My name is Boy and this is AMS Live. You are watching arrivals on the Polderbaan runway 18 right, one of the two runways in use for arrivals at the moment. The prevailing wind is blowing from the west, so there's a lot of crosswind at the moment for the airplane's landing. You can see it by the crabbing motion. Is that the next airplane already coming? I think it is. Beautiful. And a 747 entering Dutch airspace. Is it also destined to land on Schiphol? And James Williams says good morning to you too, James. Welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well on this Monday. All other viewers who are new to the show, don't be afraid to say hi in the chat. Friendly folk over here. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. There are a lot of knowledgeable and also very friendly people over here in the chat. So don't be afraid to say hi, and also don't be afraid to ask any questions that you might be having. Actually quite uneventful because solid landing. Not much to say except job well done. Suparna. So we are expecting a Suparna 747 that has now entered Dutch airspace. That is good news. Hey there Luca, good day, welcome. Cameron, checking in from Melbourne. Good evening mate. Love me some AMS. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Thanks for joining and also thanks for saying hi. I know we have a very comfortable lurkers lounge, but you can also happily and comfortably step into the main chat room. Also a nice place to stay at. Next up is a Boeing 737 arriving from Brussels. I think that is the shortest flight that we have, except for internal relocation flights between Amsterdam and Rotterdam and Groningen and stuff like that. So KLM flight 1724. Still 27 minutes of flight time. Wouldn't have thought that, but there you go. She is 16 years old, first flight February 2007, about to touch down. Effortlessly. Not a wheelie competition competitor though, but so we did see the other day that also with 737s, puny 737s, you can also make wonderfully long wheelies. If you guys missed that, do have a look in the regular video section of my channel. Last week we saw a very impressive wheelie by a KLM 737. It would have already been an impressive really had it been done by a 777 or an A330, but to have it being performed by a pilot of a 737 was even more impressive. Two airplanes visible in the distance. In the foreground, Royal Air Maroc, flight 1682 arriving from Tangier in the all-white wedding dress livery, as some people have coined the livery. 2 hours and 38 minutes underway, 18-year-old airplane. Behind it, an A320neo from EasyJet arriving from Geneva, 1 hour and 11 minutes underway. The EasyJet Neo, brand new, started its career as a professional plane in December 2022. Hey Miss Wolves, good morning. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you again. Chauffeur GoPro, good morning. And indeed Polderbaan. Over here the wind is blowing from the west. Double-digit knots, approaching 20 knots, meaning crosswind for the airplane's landing. They're landing to the south. The wind is blowing almost perpendicularly to the runway heading. It varies a little bit, but on average coming from the west more or less. Was a bit of a gamble coming over here. Yesterday morning we had similar wind conditions and they temporarily closed this runway in favor of runway 27. However, today that doesn't seem to be the case, although you never know what's going to happen still. But at the moment parallel landings take place. 18 right, where we are standing next to, and 18 center. Runway 24, where I was standing yesterday, is in use for departures, and depending on the offering of traffic, i.e. when it gets busy, they also open runway 18 left as a secondary departure runway. Here is the EasyJet Neo arriving from Geneva, brand new, started its flying career last December. And Paul checking in from down under. Good evening to you too, mate. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Now we did have blue sky as I was beginning the stream. If I zoom out and show you guys a bit of the bigger picture, you can see that the clouds have increased in the meantime. It was already becoming visible earlier. This is looking to the south. This is looking to the east. Still beautiful to see all those shapes in the clouds, the way it is illuminated. This is looking to the north. And where we had blue sky mostly in the west earlier, you can now see that also over the North Sea out west things are getting a bit more cloudy. Hopefully we're going to keep it dry. Hey Remco, goedemorgen, good morning. More traffic is coming. This is an Embraer 175 KLM flight 916 arriving from Southampton, where it departed 45 minutes ago. She is 6 years old. First flight of this airplane was in February of the year 2017. And I did see you wave there, Roy. I was waving back, didn't you see? Very understated, but still nice wheelie. Now we're going to see a big bird. Delta Airlines flight 74 arriving from Atlanta, Georgia. First A350 of the show. Delta Airlines Flight 74. Underway, 7 hours 55 minutes, arriving from Atlanta, Georgia. This airplane is 3 years old. Its first flight was in October of the year 2019. And I agree, Ty, I think that the A350 of all the modern passenger airplanes looks the best. And the close second, I think, is the A220, which isn't actually an Airbus, but actually Bombardier, which you can see the BizJet heritage oozes off it. Crabbity crab crab. Trying to keep the image as stable as I can by locking my tripod after repositioning the camera. Look at how it magnificently glides towards the runway threshold. Let's see how it lands. A bit uneven, but still very solid. Absolutely no competitor for the wheelie competition today. That nose will drop like a heavy weight. But a solid and safe landing, that's what counts. Now if you guys like salami, or if you guys like lipstick and you thought, whoa, what if we make a plane looking like that? You don't have to try to imagine what it would look like, because you're about to see in a few minutes. Next up, an A320 Neo from Play, arriving from Reykjavik, Iceland, flight 460. This airplane is underway for 2 hours and 39 minutes, about to touch down in a few minutes. She is 6 years old. First flight was in April 2017. Hey Mats, goedemorgen. Good morning, mate. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you again. In the background, an Embraer 190 from KLM arriving from Norwich. Flight 1516. On the way now for 29 minutes. That is short. Well, they do have a lot of tailwind. You can also see the third airplane in line with the Play, but on the other side of the screen to the far left. That is Delta Airlines A330 arriving from Atlanta. So we can see the glide slope visualized more or less. 3 airplanes visible. So despite the cloudiness, visibility overall on the lower levels is quite well. And here comes our lipstick A320 Neo. Looks like it is taking the first exit, giving us a nice butt shot. In the meantime, I saw that Chauffeur GoPro just became a member. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, Chauffeur GoPro. Thank you so much for your support there. Servelat. All kinds of sausages. Now in the meantime, I can also see that our friendly neighborhood, the police, is coming over doing a little patrol round. Also some people off, coming to see the airplanes land. Crabbing is always exciting to look at, draws people in, particularly when it is dry as it is still today. Right, let's quickly turn around the camera. The A330 is coming closer by. We don't want to miss its landing. Servus Peppi. Wieder mal aus Innsbruck. Hope you're doing well. All other viewers who have joined us in the meantime, welcome to AMS Live. You're watching arrivals, crabby arrivals on Polderbaan, runway 18 right, one of the two runways in use for arrivals at the moment over here at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. My name is Boy, and the wind is blowing from the west over here. These airplanes are landing to the south. The wind is almost perpendicular to the runway heading, hence the crabbing that you're seeing. We haven't seen any missed landings or failed landings in the sense that they aborted an arrival. Okay, wheelie competition. Competitor number 2 or 3. Not sure if this one was longer than the other Delta A330, but the Delta A330s are definitely leading, ranking in the top of the leaderboard right now. So we haven't seen any go-arounds from actual landing attempts. We did see an aborted landing from Georgian Airways Boeing 737 that basically aborted quite soon, relatively speaking, and I think that was because the runway wasn't vacated in time. So it did another round, and then its second, if you can call it that, landing was a normal landing. It wasn't because of wind that they went around. I think it was because the runway was still occupied at decision altitude. Next up, an Embraer 190 arriving from London City, KLM. Behind it, an EasyJet A320neo arriving from London Luton. Further out, another Embraer from British Airways, also arriving from London City. The airplane in the foreground from KLM. Hey Wilma, goedemorgen. And of course, Gosse, you are right. But we, the public, want to see wheelies, obviously. But you're right, putting them on the ground as quickly as possible is the safest thing to do. However, it is not as visually appealing as a nice wheelie. Alrighty. At the moment, we still have parallel arrivals on runway 18 right and on runway 18 center. I get the feeling that the wind is picking up a little bit. If we get a momentary lull, I am going to update the ticker. There must be a new METAR in the meantime. The wind was increasing. Began with 14 knots and the latest METAR I checked, but that is not the most recent METAR there is. Wind speed had already increased to 17 knots. Now I'm not sure how much wind is still acceptable for before they are going to switch to runway 27. Fingers crossed that they aren't going to do the same as they did yesterday. Well, for a period of time they did close the Polderbaan runway 18 right where we are standing next to, and directed landings to runway 27, which is near the McDonald's, on the exact opposite side of the airfield, more or less. Not some place you can go to in 5 minutes or so. Soon 747. Well, it is Suparna Airlines. It is arriving from the east, so I can tell you already we're not going to see it up close unless they are going to close runway 18 center in the next 5 minutes or so. Let's see, only 2 airplanes visible. Yeah. In the foreground, KLM flight 1422, Boeing 737-800, arriving from Birmingham, underway now for 42 minutes. The airplane is 15 years old, first flight January 2008. Hey Jackie, goedemorgen. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. In the background, KLM flight 1442, Embraer 190, arriving from Aberdeen, underway for an hour. Suparna is turning for center. I will have a look at it in a minute. Don't see it just yet. I'm sure I will in a minute. So I have just turned off image stabilizer just to see what the difference is. Makes the following with pan and tilt a little bit more predictable without overshoots. But you do get more vibrations from the wind. It's choosing the lesser of two evils. Yeah, I think I might go back to standard image stabilizer, even though you do get some overshooting left and right, up and down. Overall, I think it is more stable. Now, Suparna 747, I do have it visually. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. So the second queen of the day, unfortunately also the second queen not coming to this runway but to the center runway. We really need to talk with Air Traffic Control Netherlands about this. Also, they keep doing this with the A380. So Suparna Airlines Boeing 747-400 arriving from St. Petersburg. Short flight, relatively speaking, 2 hours 25 minutes at the moment. This airplane is 31 years old. Its first flight was in August 1991, ladies and gentlemen. Now you might hear a landing airplane in the foreground. That is an Embraer touching down, arriving from Aberdeen, an Embraer 190. Jane Chu, good morning. welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Luca, good morning. Hope everybody is doing well on this Monday morning. Over here at Schiphol, the wind is blowing on average from the west. Temperature was just below 20 degrees Celsius last time I checked the weather report. I'm going to see if I can update it in a minute. So if you're used to Fahrenheit, that would be about 54 degrees Fahrenheit. 17 times 2, 34, 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Bit warmer. It is cloudy, as you must have seen by now, though it is dry. Some isolated rain showers were forecasted for today, but mostly in the north, I believe. So far we have been saved from having any precipitation over here in the west, which is not to say that it might not rain later today. In the foreground you can see the grass is illuminated by the sun. The sun does still shine every now and then. But earlier in the morning when I started with the live stream, the sky was, we had more patches of blue than we do now. Let me show you guys the big picture. If you just tuned in, this is looking to the east. This is looking to the south. This is looking to the north. And earlier, looking to the north, the sky was a bit more blue, and particularly when you turn the camera to the west, southwest is where the wind is blowing from up at the moment, you can see much more clouds than we did earlier. Our next airplane is also visible in the meantime. It is a Boeing, no, it is KLM flight 7, they keep doing that. KLM flight 767, but it is an A330-300 arriving from Bonaire in the Caribbean. This airplane is underway now for 9 hours and 4 minutes. The airplane is 11 years old. Its first flight was in February of the year 2012. Now, let me in the meantime have a look at the latest weather. To my laptop, go to flight radar, click on Amsterdam, weather, copy, close browser, paste, also update the runway usage. Right, change font size. There you go. Hey Gerrit, goedemorgen. C to F. Well, the shortcut I always use is Celsius times 2 plus 30. So I have updated the latest weather report in the ticker. Let me take you through it in a minute. First have a look at the A330 touching down. Nice, nice, nice. Not sure which one is the longest. It is definitely a race between the A330s amongst themselves. A KLM cowboy gossen. Taking unnecessary risks by leaving the nose gear up unnecessarily long. Not sure if it's the winner, but we'll have to watch the rewinds to see which of them actually is the longest. They are close this time round. Now there should be an Embraer 175 coming this way. Is that it? Is that a different airplane? No, that is the next airplane. Huh? Is flight radar fooling around? Oh, I think I might have overseen. So this is, yeah, there's the first one. There we go. The sun is starting to illuminate my camera screen, which makes it even harder to look at the pipeline. In the foreground, an Embraer 175 from KLM arriving from Luxembourg. In the background, a 777 also from KLM arriving from Vancouver. 777. Hey, mich intolerance. Good morning. Guten Morgen. And yes, Chablo, this is the Polderbaan. Runway 18 right as it is being used today. Now at the moment the wind is still 16 knots from 260 degrees. So not a lot has changed in that respect since they have been able to use the runway for landings throughout the morning. I'm relatively hopeful that they are not going to do the same as they did yesterday and close the Polderbaan in favor of the Polderbaan, runway 27, which they did temporarily yesterday. Rather exceptional, since this runway is, normally speaking, one of the two preferential runways together with runway 0624, the Kaagbaan, meaning that unless it is really impossible to do so, these two are almost always in use. Now interesting to see, there is a 777 arriving from Cape Town flying downwind, so that means flying north. Will we see it to the Polderbaan or will it land on 18 center? I'm thinking it probably is going to 18 center, but of course I'm hoping that in the meantime they might close 18 center again, meaning that all traffic will be coming this way. So this is KLM flight 682. It is a Boeing 777-300ER arriving from Vancouver, Canada. She's on her way now for 8 hours and 36 minutes. She is 11 years old. First flight was in May 2012. Hey there, Warren G, checking in from Atlanta, Georgia. Good morning, man. Happy to hear that you're enjoying the show. Thanks for letting me know. That's what I'm doing it for. Plus I'm also enjoying myself, obviously, but also hoping to give you guys an experience that resembles being here with me. So that includes if there is something going on in the water or up in the sky, I will show you, because obviously you would have been able to see that standing here or sitting down as well. Hey Evan, top of the morning my man, good to see you again. Welcome to windy Amsterdam, where we have crabbing arrivals. Oh dear. Well, you didn't miss a lot. We haven't seen any spectacular go-arounds or something. I do see the first ducks of the day, so let me take a moment to show you guys. It's not just a duck, it is a mama duck with 3 ducklings. No, but we haven't seen any. We did have one go around earlier in the morning. That was Georgian Airways Boeing 737, but it went around, it aborted its landing. I think because there was still traffic on the runway and not so much because it was too windy or something. Second attempt, if you can call it that, or first genuine attempt, went effortlessly. So the first duck of the day. Hey, how about that? I think the ducks are. It's a more confirmation that ducks are actually night owls and are not early risers. Another pack of ducks and ducklings in the distance, a bit obscured by the grass or whatever it is in the foreground. Even though they have cut the grass over here a couple of weeks ago, it has been growing back quite vigorously. One of the bird control vehicles patrolling K2, one of 4 vehicles. They have flares at their disposal. They have a soundboard with which they can mimic the sounds of predator birds, natural enemies of the birds that flock around over here at Schiphol, to chase them away in a non-obtrusive manner. So this was an Embraer 190 with a little bit of a bumpy nose wheel by the looks of it. Arriving from London City, one of the many flights between London City and Amsterdam. Quickly turning around the camera because Paul has to go shopping. Unfortunately, he has to leave already. Well, best of luck with that and have a nice day if we don't see you later again. Now the 777 arriving from Cape Town will be going to the other runway. However, we are now seeing a 777 arriving from Curaçao, and in the distance an A330 from Delta arriving from Detroit. I'm assuming you're referring to yourself there, Evan, with your sleepy face super sticker. Thank you so much for that donation. I see that I have forgot to go back to manual focus on infinity after zooming in on the ducks a little bit. They are closer by. Anyway, KLM flight 736 777-300ER arriving from Willemstad, Curaçao, 8 hours and 39 minutes of flight time. This airplane 2 years old, first flight January 2021. And a double triple. This 777 is arriving from Cape Town, another 777-300ER from KLM. However, I'm not going to follow it extensively because we are waiting for, well, I can already see it, a Delta A330. There she is. Delta Airlines flight 136, Airbus A330-300, arriving from Detroit. Detroit is also in Michigan, isn't it? Or am I saying stupid things now? Somehow sounds natural, Detroit, Michigan. Anyway, Delta Airlines flight 136, Airbus A330-300, 7 years old, first flight October 2015, now touching down after 7 hours and a minute of flying according to flight radar. So while this doesn't win the wheelie competition, it does make something of that up for by the reverse thrust application. And Detroit is indeed in Michigan, right? I already thought it sounded natural, like I've heard it before, Detroit, Michigan. So there you go. Let me visualize the wind for you guys. Camera is now pointing approximately at a 45-degree angle. This canal is parallel to the runway, so you can see the wind is blowing a little bit from the left still, but also a bit from behind. So there is still a significant crosswind component in the current wind. Hey Ham, goedemorgen. Good to see you again, my friend. Now, let's have a look further out. There is a Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner from Panama City coming this way. Hey, and also a Turkish A320 that looks to be coming this way. Does that mean then that 18 center is once again the only runway in use for 18 right, the only runway in use for arrivals? It doesn't... The baangebruik app hasn't been updated yet. It still shows both runways open. It is always a bit lagging. We're still waiting for the airplane to become visible visually as well. Let me take you through the current weather then. Let me renew the ticker so it starts with the weather update. Some people have been asking what those numbers and letters mean. It is actually the weather update. AHAM is the name of the airport, Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. AMS also an abbreviation indicating this airport. Then the time and date, the 3rd of July, and then 8:55 Zulu, meaning Greenwich Mean Time. So that is 2 hours behind Central European Time, which you can see in the bottom left corner of the ticker of the screen. So that means 10:55 AM local time is when this weather report was generated. The wind coming from 260 degrees, 16 knots. The wind is variable between 220 degrees and 290 degrees. Visibility is 10 kilometers or more. There are some scattered clouds at 2,900 feet. The air temperature is 18 degrees Celsius. The dew point of the weather of the air is 10 degrees Celsius. The air pressure is 1,009 hectopascal, and no significant wheelies are allowed. Going back to the camera, here is our next airplane, the 787-10 Dreamliner arriving from Panama City KLM, flight 758, underway for 9 hours and 35 minutes. The airplane is 3 years old. First flight of this airplane was in December 2019. Okay, Corendon Airlines is also coming this way. That is probably just a relocation flight arriving from Eindhoven. Before we'll see that, first, can we see both of them, by the way? Yeah, we can. Just about. Let me quickly fixate the tripod because it is blowing my camera to the right otherwise. In the foreground we have Turkish flight 7768. It is Anadolu jet operated by SmartLynx, but it has the call sign of Turkish. A320 arriving from Istanbul. 3 hours and 11 minutes underway now. The airplane is 12 years old. Its first flight was in July 2010. So folks, if you just tuned in, welcome to the show. This is AMS Live. My name is Boy and we are watching arrivals on the Polderbaan, where we get a nice butt shot of this Anadolu jet A320 that just landed coming from Istanbul. We're standing in line with the first exit of this runway. So airplanes using that. We get to see from behind, directly in line with the rear end. As you guys noticed, serious crabbing is taking place right now. That is because the wind is blowing almost perpendicularly to the runway heading. These airplanes are coming in from the north, landing to the south, and the wind is blowing from the west. And it is blowing with 17 knots. So yeah, the airplanes, when they are approaching, looks like they are going to fly to the left of us, but they are gliding to the right of us. That is how much they have to correct for the crosswind. Makes for spectacular footage. Only one go around today so far, and that was a go around more because the runway wasn't vacated in time, I think, not because the landing itself was troublesome. Georgian Airways 737-700 arriving from Tbilisi, and on its second attempt, or first serious attempt, it went effortlessly. And that is exactly what this airplane is also doing, landing without any issues. Interesting. I thought we were going to see an Anadolu jet. This is Corendon. I think I'm like I think I need a cup of coffee. I think I was just looking at the wrong airplane, the previous airplane. Oh God. Now if only I could order a coffee to go that was going to be delivered. So there are a few people over here also looking at the air traffic. This is to the north of me. There are also a few people. There were a few people on the south side. There were a few people sitting on the bench for a while. I think they are now walking back to the car. The main spottersplaats of Polderbaan in the distance, you can see some people. It's in the middle of the screen. You can see a fence. That is where the people at the parking place of the official spottersplaats of Polderbaan can look at the airplanes. Now here is a cycling path leading to the north, which allows you to get closer to the point where arriving traffic touches down. I can hear departing air traffic from runway 24 passing me by, but the clouds are too thick to see. It does have a little old school sound to it. Not a Neo or anything. Maybe a 737, I don't know. The next airplane to arrive is going to be a 737-800 from KLM, arriving from London Heathrow. Just checking to see if we can see it as it is turning onto the glide slope. Melky was saying it is a Suparna 747. Okay, that explains the old school sound I was hearing. So, let me have a look on my laptop screen where I can see more detail. Oh yeah, it is in the center of the field of view. Let me zoom in on it a little bit. There we go. Lock everything down again, otherwise the wind is so strong that it will, and the surface area of my camera with the new mic that is also quite big, with a dead cat that also catches a lot of wind, plus my cell phone, my smartphone is also attached to my camera, makes it a big surface area to catch wind with. So if I don't lock my camera, it's going to move to the right on its own by the wind. Thanks for the kind words, Wilma. Great stream, she is saying. And indeed, Han, shout out for the pilot skills the pilots are showing today. Rom NYC, totally missed you being present in the chat. Good day to you. It is windy today, absolutely. We also had wind yesterday. Not sure if today is more windy than yesterday. For some reason they did close the Polderbaan, so this runway, temporarily in favor of runway 27 today, and I'm knocking on wood that hasn't happened yet. Was a bit of a gamble coming here this morning. I was already fearing that they might do the same as they did yesterday, but so far they haven't done so. What about a windsurf party on the water right now? Jean-Yves is asking. Well, let me show you the waves in a minute, my friend. I don't think. Well, you can surf, of course, with the wind. That is true. You just need the sail on the surfboard. I was thinking of the other type, wave surfing. The waves, of course, are not as significant over here in this little stream that you were able to do that. I was confused with the different types of surfing. Now, how awesome would it be if you had a jet ski and you could do a little reenactment of Top Gun, but instead of being on a motorbike and following along a fighter jet, you use a jet ski to try to keep up with the bird controllers or or an airplane taxiing. And James, I see that you just became a member. Thank you so much for your contribution and for your support. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, my friend. Now, we haven't seen the ducks anymore. They did only do a cameo with the whole family, with both families, for a few short moments. and then vanished back into the background again. Oh! If you guys are hearing an alarm, it is 12 o'clock and it is the first Monday of the month, so the Netherlands is not under attack. This is just us testing our alarms. If I turn the camera towards civilization, you can probably hear it better. Hey, and you guys are right. Did anybody hear from Paul Usher? I haven't spoken with him in a while. I was just wondering lately, I saw Infinity, Yorkshire is almost always present, Rick also, Kathleen also, but I haven't seen Paul in a while. Hope he's doing well. Twice alarm in the stream and in town. Yeah, Kathleen was here. She was here yesterday and also last week, so she is still she isn't missing. Lunch alarm. Well, that's also a good idea. We're waiting for the next air traffic, ladies and gentlemen. The first airplane to arrive is going to be an E2 Embraer 195 from KLM, and there's also a Vueling A320 arriving that is flying downwind. Can I see it? Well, no. I think that it is too cloudy right now. But I did find out earlier this morning that the airplanes flying downwind just off the coast are visible from over here. You just need to know where to look for them. Let me also have a quick look at the Baangebruik app showing the active runway configuration. It says now Polderbaan, only runway for arrivals, runway 24 and 18 left, both used for departures. So that is very good news, means that all inbound traffic will be coming this way. Hopefully this runway configuration will stay in place until the Emirates A380 has landed. I saw, and it was already mentioned in the chat as well, we did miss the new special livery yesterday, or at least we only got to see it from afar. But today we are going to see a standard livery, but well, it is the new livery, the new standard livery. So the tail has been updated, looks nice, the logo. Expected in an hour, Kuni is mentioning. So yeah, fingers crossed. Wouldn't it be nice if for once we got to see it on this runway instead of the center runway? They always have a way of reopening other runways just before the A380 actually arrives or lands. Hey Laurens, checking in from nearby Amsterdam. If I turn the camera to the east and you wave, we might be able to see it. So the E2 Embraer 195 is now barely visible. Let me see if I can also show you guys. It should be, yeah, there it is. Should be over there, and it is. So this is KLM flight 1060, arrival from Cardiff. After a flight of 47 minutes, this E2 Embraer 195 will be touching down in a few minutes. She is 2 years old. The first flight of this airplane was in February 2021. Now Dave, unfortunately the Emirates going to Manchester is hard for me to see. As you guys can see, it is getting more cloudy by the minute. Hard to see any contrails, if they are producing any contrails right now. Earlier in the morning I was able to see some contrails, but now I don't anymore, just because the clouds have grown and are obscuring the field, obscuring the view. Don't see the A320 from Barcelona just yet. It will arrive soon. Will probably be visible after this airplane has touched down. But thanks for mentioning though, Dave. If conditions permit me to show you contrails, particularly A380s and stuff like that, and if they are flying relatively close by, this camera can zoom in quite a bit, the equivalent of 600 millimeters, I believe. So you would be able to see something of it. So do let me know also during upcoming streams if you guys see anything interesting for me to show you guys, and I will try my best to show you. So this is Vueling flight 8309 A320 arriving from Barcelona, an hour and 47 minutes underway now. This airplane is 9 years old. Let me lock everything. Otherwise it gets too shaky. First flight of this airplane was in March 2014. Hey there Goosey, good day to you. Gerrit, good afternoon. Says in Rijnsburg the sky is blue. Whoa, hey. Let me show you a little bit of outbound traffic over here. Where is it? Come on, going into the clouds again. Never mind. If visibility is unobstructed, you can see airplanes take off from runway 24. You can beautifully follow them as they make a right-hand turn and head back to the north, as the plane I was trying to show you is doing. Passing over the runway glide slope at 7,000 plus feet. And it was a 777 to Shanghai, Warren was saying. Well, better luck next time. Indeed, not really the weather for long shots. And Goosey is saying that they have Air Force One arriving at Stansted this week. That is nice. What's the occasion? Is there a conference or something going on? Haven't been really up to date with all the politics and all the scheduled meetings that take place right now. Air Force One, there must be a good reason for that. In the foreground, Transavia 737 arriving from Ibiza. In the background, an A320 arriving from Edinburgh. Joe Biden having an ice cream. Hey there, Cafe Spotter, good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. All other viewers who have joined us in the meantime, welcome to the show. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. These are arrivals on Polderbaan, runway 18 right. Currently the only runway in use for arrivals. The prevailing wind is from the west mostly. and approaching 20 knots, so that's why the airplanes are crabbing so much. We have a bit of crosswind. Now, all the landings so far have been without any big issues. There was one go around that was basically an aborted landing because the runway, I think, was not vacated in time. The preceding airplane was taking its time, so come decision altitude they had to go around, try again in a few minutes, and the second try went effortlessly. It is narrow bodies galore right now. Don't see any heavies in the immediate vicinity. However, it is a nice mixed palette of narrow bodies, not just Embraer 175s back to back. Right now you guys can see two airplanes approaching. The first one is EasyJet A320 arriving from Edinburgh, and in the background an Embraer 190 from KLM arriving from BOD, that is Bordeaux. Ah, fresh wine. So in the foreground, I have to click the right airplane, EasyJet flight 23301 A320 arriving from Edinburgh, Scotland, and this airplane is underway now for an hour and a minute. The EasyJet A320 is 14 years old. First flight of this airplane was in February of the year 2009. And Ome Gerrit, now that you are mentioning it, the sun is actually coming out over here. So the sun you guys were having in Rijnsburg seems to have made it over here. The A320 also being illuminated by the sun. Nice to have some direct sunshine again. Nice butt shot coming up, spoilers going down, flaps are going to be retracted again. Hey Joao, good morning, good to see you again. Hope everybody is doing well. And Roy informing us that only a bit of rain expected after 6 p.m. Well, I will have been gone by then, that's for sure. My intention is to stick around until the A380. Just to see if we can catch a break today and see it land on the Polderbaan for a change. If not, I think we need to riot. All AMS live viewers need to assemble at Schiphol and we should occupy the ATC control tower. Demand that they change or leave the runways as is when the A380 is coming. And also stop opening parallel runways when 747s are arriving. Good afternoon, Josegi, and good morning to you too, Vinod. Nice to see you guys again. Hope you are doing well. All other viewers who have joined in the meantime, welcome to you too. Feel free to say hi in the chat. Also, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. People over here in the chat are very friendly and also very knowledgeable. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you just want to say hi, don't be afraid to do so. Next up is another Embraer from KLM. Embraer 175 arriving from Darlington, flight 1534, underway for 43 minutes, about to touch down. And this airplane is 6 years old. First flight was in September 2016. Hey Frank, checking in from Doetinchem and saying nice stream. Thank you so much, Frank. Nice of you to say hi. Glad you are enjoying the content. That's why I'm doing this, to give you guys a pleasurable experience. Try to give you the feeling that you are here with me. Looking at what is going on over here at Schiphol Airport. Not just the airplanes, also what is going on in the fields, in the water, in the sky. Next up, Shamrock Flight 604, Aer Lingus A320 arriving from Dublin, Ireland. She took off there 59 minutes ago. This airplane is 18 years old. First flight was in June 2005. Last minute yaw, straightening the airplane. Little bit of reverse thrust applied. Hey there, Simon, or Simon, checking in from Denmark. Awesome. Hope you're doing well, mate. Now, if you only just tuned in just now, you can see it is a bit windy over here. Airplanes are crabbing. The wind is blowing from the west mostly. They are landing to the south. And wind speeds are approaching 20 knots, so there is quite a bit of crosswind here today. That is why all these airplanes are crabbing when they are approaching the runway. E2 Embraer 195 arriving from Bergen. Oh. Little bit of banking left and right, but nicely touched down. Some school children cycling past me, screaming a little bit. You might have heard that. And Sammy and L, thanks for letting me know you're watching as well. Glad you're enjoying. Hey there, Rajesh, checking in from Chennai in India. Good afternoon, my friend. Enjoying the stream? Happy to hear that. Nice of you to say hi. What's the time difference between mainland Europe and Chennai? 3.5 hours or so. This here 20 past 12 p.m. Queenslander Alex checking in from Australia. Good evening, mate. Nice to see so many people from down under also finding this stream. Well, I'm often streaming in the morning, so I guess that is a late afternoon, early evening time slot for you guys in down under, isn't it? I think it is. What's the time difference? 8-9 hours? Transavia arriving from Zakynthos. Right, 8:23 p.m. down under. Jean-Yves says that was creepy and freaky. Actually, sirens calling to warn you about the children. Yeah, that is exactly why the alarm was going off. Each time the school is almost going out, we get a warning. Photo for you informing us that there are 2 777s from Etihad and Emirates 12 minutes out. So that is good news. Let me also have a quick look at the weather, see what the wind is doing. It is a bit on and off. On some moments it feels like it is quieting down, and at other moments it feels like it is picking up. No gusts, it says here in the weather report, although the wind has increased a bit further, 18 knots, blowing on average from 250 degrees right now. Let me once again update the ticker for you guys so you guys can see as well. And arrivals 18 right, 24 and 18 left, that is still current. Okay, update the ticker. There you go. So if you guys look in the ticker, I have just updated the latest weather report. It is from 9:55 Zulu time, so that is 10:55 local time. And it says that the wind is blowing with 18 knots from 250 degrees, and it is variable, the wind, between 220 degrees and 290 degrees. Visibility is 10 kilometers or more. There are a few clouds scattered at 2,800 feet. The current air temperature 18 degrees Celsius. The dew point at this temperature, or with this humidity, is 10 degrees Celsius. And the QNH, the air pressure is 1,009 hectopascals, and no significant wheelies are allowed. And here we have the chimney smoke in Westport, Amsterdam, port area west of the city of Amsterdam, as a proxy for a windsock. And Jackie is back again. Did I miss special things? You saw, we saw everything, really everything. You missed it all. You have to watch back the entire stream. Nah, not much going on. We're waiting for the next air traffic. I think I see something in the distance. I think it is the 777-200 arriving from Lima. Now the hard part to show you guys where it is. There we go. Just turning onto the glide slope. KLM flight 744 is what we are seeing. Just turned onto the glide slope. Boeing 777-200 arriving from Lima in Peru. 11 hours and 46 minutes underway, ladies and gentlemen. Almost half a day. This airplane is 17 years old. First flight was in March 2006. And there is a Delta Airlines A330 arriving from Seattle that is now almost crossing over from being over water to over land, a bit to the north. Let's see. Okay. So John informing us that Singapore Airlines is diverting to Sharjah. Okay, interesting. And James says, I just looked at the weather for the weekend. Amsterdam's going to see 30 degrees C. Yeah, that is typical. Going from one extreme to the other. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time the weekend arrives it has been downgraded to 25C or something. You always see extreme weather further up in the future, which typically gets moderated as time progresses and the actual date gets closer by. And Lasse is also present again, who says, I need to work at 1 o'clock, so I will miss the A380 by a few minutes. What's the expected time of arrival? Is it, well, I think there is major wind blowing from the west over mainland Europe right now, so probably the wind is only going to delay it even further. Okay, 40 minutes. So yeah, Lasse, then better call in work, say that you're 15 minutes later. Got some important stuff that I need to take care of first. Oh, hey, maar Lasse, doctors are always running late. So if you have an appointment at 1 o'clock, you can typically, especially later in the day, mostly in hospitals, I'm not sure if the general practitioner, they typically work more on time schedule than in hospitals, but you can often easily come in 10 minutes late and still have to wait before you get called in. That's not me saying that you should go to your doctor's appointment too late. But I think most of us can relate that you go somewhere and you have to wait and you have to wait and you have to wait even when you were there on time. So next up, Delta Airlines Flight 144 A330-300 arriving from Seattle, Washington State, if I'm not mistaken. A330-300, 19 years old. First flight was in March 2004. The airplane is underway now for almost 9 hours. 8 hours and 56 minutes according to flight radar. And I think it was Lisa that said last time, one of the last times, that it is actual flight time from the moment that they take off from the ground that is being counted in flight radar. Zooming out a little bit to see, can we see traffic in the distance, in the background? There should be a 777 from Emirates arrive from the right. Onto the glide slope. Normally you would be able to see it, but it is still out, far out north. So I'm thinking maybe it is a bit too far out. Oh wait, there it is. I can see more detail on my camera screen right now, as you guys can probably tell. That is because the sun is hiding behind the clouds right now over here where I'm standing. And that helps tremendously in seeing more, because there are hardly any reflections at the moment. Alright, so Queenslander Alex's cousins landed safely. Pop opened the champagne, ladies and gentlemen. That is good news. Now, we saw it turn onto the glide slope, or almost nearing the glide slope earlier. Now it is already on the glide slope. Emirates Sky Cargo flight 9989, Boeing 777 freighter arriving from Dubai. 6 hours and 33 minutes underway now, according to flight radar. This airplane 10 years old. First flight was in September 2012. And it is heavies time because after this 777 come two more heavies. The first of which is Delta Airlines flight 164 arriving from Minneapolis. The second one arriving from the east, Etihad Cargo flight 913. Just checking my laptop screen to see a bit more detail, but unfortunately we cannot see. Oh yeah, in the middle at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock of the A330, there is the next airplane. Really awesome. With the prevailing wind, you can also see the clouds move from left to right. Beautiful. Really have to go back at a later point to do a time lapse from stuff like this. Hey there, Amy. Good day to you. You tuned in just in time for a nice couple of heavies. 3 back-to-back heavies, then a 737-700, and after that another Dreamliner 10 arriving from LAX. Nah, come on. Really have to be careful that the wind doesn't blow the camera to the right. Uneventful because it was solid landing. Clouds still everywhere, as you guys can see. This is looking to the east. Looking to the west, northwest, it is open a bit more. That is good news. Makes it a bit harder for me to look at the camera right now because of reflections and direct sunshine, but that's a downside I will happily take. We're now looking in the foreground at Delta Airlines flight 164, an A330-300 arriving from Minneapolis. 7 hours 34 minutes underway. The airplane is 19 years old. Its first flight was in August 2003. That is nice, Queenslander Alex. Oh, we saw that one weirdo filming everything. I know, I'm watching. Excellent. No time to linger. This is getting a bit busy, back-to-back traffic, so quickly back to the north with the camera for our next airplane to arrive. In the top left we can also see the next airplane a bit further out. It's a 737-700, so it has to keep a bit of space in between in order not to get stuck in the wake turbulence of the preceding heavy. This is Etihad Cargo Flight 913 arriving from Abu Dhabi after 6 hours and 28 minutes of flight. This is a 777 freighter, 7 years old, first flight February 2016. And what a magnificent contrast with the green grass and the grey sky. In the meantime, a little tractor is passing by over here, going into the field right here. With some grass cutting device or something. I'm no farmer by any means, so don't know what I was looking at, but it looks impressive, as most agricultural things do. Right, 2 airplanes visible right now. In the foreground, Boeing 737-700 arriving from Milan, KLM flight 1620. Underway for an hour and 25 minutes, Boeing 737-700, 14 years old, first flight March 2009. In the background, Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner arriving from LAX, flight 604, 9 hours 36 minutes underway. And the 787-10 Dreamliner is 2 years old. Photo for you says tractor in Italian livery. Was it an Italian tractor? Was it a Lamborghini? Let's recheck that. Nah, that's not an Italian. It is Azzurro. It could be Italian. Who knows? So this is the Dreamliner 10 arriving from LAX. 2 years old. Now folks, if you just tuned in, you're watching AMS Live, welcome to the show. My name is Boy and we are standing next to the Polderbaan, which is the name of runway 18 right, 36 left. Today in use as landing runway 1-8 right. And at the moment the only runway in use for landings. At the moment the prevailing wind is blowing from the west mostly, and it is blowing with speeds approaching 20 knots. So if you guys were thinking, is it a bit windy or is it just me? No, that's not you. It is actually windy, and what's fun is that the wind is blowing almost perpendicularly to the runway heading. So there's a lot of crosswind, hence a lot of crabbing. So far we haven't seen any real go-arounds. There was only one go-around earlier from Georgian Airways that had to go around basically because the runway wasn't vacated in time. Now I even have to lock my tripod or hold the camera still with 2 hands, otherwise the wind will blow my camera to the side. Also the tracking is a bit more wobbly than you are expected from me, are used of me. Simply because I'm standing here in an open field with constant wind pushing to the camera onto the camera. There's only so much you can do to correct for that. We're waiting for the Emirates A380 arriving from Dubai. At the moment it would come to this runway, but you never know for sure over here with Schiphol. We've seen it happen before on several occasions that they open a runway just before the A380 arrives and then it goes to that runway. I think it is expected in half an hour or so from now. Maybe someone in the chat can update us. I think it's about expected around 1:15 p.m. local time, so that is in 30 minutes from now. Really hoping a little bit wobbly, but then the touchdown itself went well. Temperatures over here just below 20 degrees Celsius or in the mid 60s Fahrenheit, and the A380 is expected in roughly half an hour or so from now. Looking forward to see that. Hopefully it's going to come to this runway. It is in its standard livery, but it is the updated standard livery, so if you look at Flight Radar you can see the tail. The logo looks a bit different. Next up, an Embraer 190 arriving from Basel. You can see that the pilots are working. German Airways flying for KLM, flight 1986. This airplane is underway now for 1 hour and 13 minutes. It is 14 years old. First flight was in January of the year 2009. It is a standard livery, not the Lacy for chocolate livery that we have seen so often of the last couple of weeks. So this is basically a rental for KLM. And I think it has to do with the E2 Embraer 195s having engine difficulties, or at least a lot of them have. Hence their fleet, a big part of that fleet is grounded or has been grounded, so they need to shop for more elsewhere. And hey there Victor, good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Jean-Yves in a summery vibe. Now, we've seen this one before. Not only is this a Icelandair Boeing 757 arrival from Reykjavik, it is also the 100-year Independence special livery with more blue and a nice stripe on the side. Nice that we can see it once again. The 757s are already a rarity of their own, and this one is even rarer because it is a special livery to boot. Now, I think Icelandair is the only operator that flies the 757 to Schiphol. If there are others that I don't know of, do let me know in the chat and let us know. Icelandair also still flies a few 767s to Amsterdam, together with their new Boeing 737 MAX 8s. So Icelandair providing a lot of variety in terms of the airplane types that we see over here at Schiphol. Hey there Ronald, who says prachtig, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining and letting us know you're enjoying the stream. Next up is KLM flight 755, a 777-200 arriving from Guayaquil. After 11 hours and 3 minutes, now touching down a 777-200 ER, 17 years old, first flight, February 2006. Hey Aphrodite, hellootjes to you too. En piloot hoi, goeiedag. Vaker kijken of ik er zelf een keer voorbij kom. Leuke stream, thanks. Nice of you to say hi there, piloot hoi. If you do happen to see me standing over here while you are landing, do try to make a wheelie. We have a wheelie competition. And wouldn't it be nice if you would be the winner one day? 2 airplanes visible in the distance and up close. One up close is an EasyJet A319 flight 27882 arriving from Palma de Mallorca. Underway now for 2 hours and 3 minutes, and it is 13 years old. 3 airplanes visible in the distance. I stand corrected. The sun was obscuring my view a little bit. Here we have them all in one shot. The 2 planes in the background, another A320neo from Pegasus this time around, and an A320neo from Vueling. Let's quickly go to the first landing. And we get a nice butt shot of the A320. We're standing in line with the first exit, so airplanes taking the first exit show us there behind perfectly. Aphrodite, it doesn't only look like there is a lot of crosswind, there is a lot of crosswind. For those of you just tuning in, At the moment, the wind is blowing with almost 20 knots. It is blowing from the west on average, and the airplanes are landing to the south, so they are faced with almost 90 degrees crosswind. So a lot of crabbing action. We have seen only exclusively crabbing action, in fact. And despite this, all this, only one go around, and I think that was a technical one, not because the landing was too difficult, but because there was obstruction of the runway that did not vacate in time. Here we have the Pegasus A320neo, and we're going to see another A320neo behind it from Vueling. Just a teensy bit of reverse thrust. Exactly 80 degrees cross, almost perpendicular. Here's the next A320neo from Vueling, arriving from Barcelona. No, Alicante. I was wrong there. Now either the firefighters have taken the day off, or they were really early this morning, because I haven't seen them do their daily patrol rounds around the runway that we normally see when streaming in the morning. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the layout of Schiphol, this runway is the furthest removed. The Polderbaan, latest edition, built in 2003. It is so far removed from the main platform area, it has its dedicated control tower that you see in the middle of the screen, and just before it is the fire station. And these airplanes have to taxi 10 to 15 minutes at least. You can see an airplane still taxiing in the distance to get to the main platform area where the terminal building and also the gates are. The original, if you can call it that, ATC control tower being over there in the distance. Now you can imagine zooming out, it is so far away that you have to have binoculars or a telescope and clear visibility to be able to see what is going on over here. Hence they have built a dedicated ATC control tower just for traffic taking off and landing on this runway. Embraer from KLM, one of the many. It's back to the narrow bodies for the time being. We are going to see. Oh, let me see. I'm looking to my left. According to flight radar, left of me there should be a Vueling, but it is still at 6,000 feet and descending. Just checking to see if I can visually spot it and show you guys, but I think the clouds are in the way. Here we have Norwegian. Flight radar has been... Well, not all information on flight radar has been accurate when it comes to Norwegian. I've seen special liveries when flight radar said it was a standard livery and vice versa. interesting development there. Aphrodite informing us that the A380 is expected in 16 minutes. That is very good news. Fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen, that they are not going to open up to 7 or 18 center. I think we deserve a break and deserve to see the Emirates A380 up close. It is a standard livery, but it is the new standard livery, so it does have a nice new livery. The tail looks a bit different. The logo is the same, but they have changed it a little bit. Anyway, just check Flight Radar for the picture and see for yourself. Unfortunately, yesterday we did not get to see it up close. They had their Rugby Cup special livery being sent to Amsterdam. Now the upshot is we'll undoubtedly see it again later, and there will come a day that we can see it and film it properly. Of that I am 100% sure. Just a matter of patience. Meanwhile, this Petit Air France Airbus has just landed. And after that we are going to see a KLM Boeing 737-800 arriving from Copenhagen, flight 1128. Also the next airplane visible in the distance. After this 737 from KLM arriving from Copenhagen, we'll see a Transavia 737-800 arriving from Alicante. So basically 2 737-800s in a row. Now I have image stabilizer enabled, and that mitigates some of the wind vibrations, but it introduces a different type of disturbance that I'm not happy with. Overshooting up and down, left and right. Makes for imprecise following. So it's basically a catch-22. Let me show you guys when turning off image stabilizer what that looks like. You will see more minor vibrations, but on average a bit more precise following. Hey there Lance, good afternoon, good to see you again. Indeed, crosswind landings, zijwind landingen. And also a mass cargo Airbus A380-200 coming soon. So I've now disengaged the image stabilizer. So the left-right movement, barring any gusts of wind, is a bit, or it is still shaky. Either way it is shaky. I think I need to hire someone who can stand here with a big umbrella to shield the camera from the wind on days such as today, so that the camera following is smooth. Here another butt shot. I do see some airplanes that are now landing on runway 22, the Oostbaan. Pretty sure that that is not going to apply for the A380 once it arrives. It is now above Lelystad, Aphrodite is saying. So that is good news. It is getting closer by. Tom 4 says landing Kaag. Don't think so, mate. Landing Polder. Hopefully it's going to stay that way. Now there is an Embraer 190 arriving from Stuttgart. By the looks of it, that is now. Oh, that is the chocolate light seaford livery, flying over Amsterdam Bos right now to the Oostbaan. I have now re-enabled image stabilizer just to get a bit less vibrations. I think those are the most distracting. A320 from Morocco arriving from Nador in a wedding dress livery, as some people have coined it. All white, uneventful because a very solid and good landing. Hey there, Farhan, good to see you. Welcome to the show. All other viewers who have joined in the meantime, welcome to you too. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. We are looking at crosswind arrivals at runway 18 right, the Polderbaan. At the moment, the main landing runway, not the only runway used for arrivals, but definitely the one that sees the most traffic right now. We're waiting for the Emirates A380 that is coming in a few minutes. It is in the vicinity already. And hoping with all that I have that we are going to see it up close for a change. It is a standard livery, but it is the new standard livery. Let's see, also some heavies. Hey, and I have good news. I already see that the A380 is coming to this runway, so we're definitely going to see the Emirates A380 Super arriving from Dubai in a few minutes. It is flying to this runway. Of that I am almost certain. It can still go to 18 center, mind you. If they open 18 center in the next 4 minutes, well, get the torches and the hay forks, because we're marching to the Schiphol control tower then. Right, Air Transat A321neo, transatlantic flight in a narrow body, about to land next. And as you guys can see, there's also a big bird behind it. That would be a 777-300 ER arriving from Atlanta, Georgia, from KLM. Now in the foreground, the Air Transat A321neo arriving from Toronto, Canada. Airborne now 6 hours and 40 minutes. It is 3 years old and had its first flight in March 2020. smooth. And we even got a little bit of reverse thrust there. Hey, grüß dich Monika, checking in from Hamburg. Schön, dass du auch wieder dabei bist. Now folks, in a few minutes we're hoping to see the Emirates A380. It is still, it could theoretically still go to 18 center, although I do find the chance getting slimmer by the second. It is still flying up north, too far for us to be able to see right now, so let's focus on what we can see, and that is this 777 arriving from Atlanta. Right, two more airplanes visible relatively close behind each other. In the foreground, Corendon, Boeing 737-800, arrival from Palma de Mallorca, flight 120, underway now for 2 hours and 5 minutes. The airplane is 11 years old. Its first flight was in November 2011. After that, we are going to see MAS Cargo, flight 6126, Airbus A330-200, arriving from Doha after 6 hours and 36 minutes, about to see a touchdown. The airplane is 11 years old. First flight was in March 2012. And a quick thank you to Roy for a 777 super chat saying thanks again for heaving me. Well, thank you for being there, Roy. Always a pleasure to have you on the stream. So thank you for your ongoing support there, mate. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. Hope you guys are all enjoying this. As you guys can see, it is still cloudy, still windy. The proxy windsock says it all. Let's go to the MAS Cargo A330. Arriving from Doha, A330-200. Battling the wind with the camera, it has the tendency to move to the right when a gust hits it. Now I think, but do tell me if I'm wrong, that the fortification that you see at the nose wheel is because it is a cargo airplane. You see the bulge under the nose wheel. I think that is because of fortification, because of the cargo weight it potentially has to be able to carry. Do let me know if I'm wrong and if it has a different purpose. If it has, I'm curious to learn what it is good for. And in the meantime, I saw that Malky was just becoming a member. Thank you so much there, Malky, for becoming a member of the Aurora Sky Lounge. And thank you for your support, my friend. Aphrodite is saying that the A380 is the 3rd from now. That is good news. Oh, and I was still zoomed in. Shame on me. Yeah. Well, 3rd. I think 2nd. It is 2nd. In the foreground we have a KLM Embraer 190 flight 1200 arriving from Stavanger. I'm not going to follow it, I'm going to stick with the A380. Malky says the bulge is for the nose wheel, but to help level out the deck. Ah! Yeah, so it is a higher nose wheel then, just to make sure that it is level and not facing forward. I did notice that on regular A330s that they do tend to lean forward, so to speak. Haha, Lasse, perfect timing, man. Now folks, in the foreground you might hear the landing of an Embraer 190, but I'm not going to keep the camera on it. I'm looking at the number 9 most tracked worldwide of Flight Radar right now. Emirates A380 arriving from Dubai, the daily flight, flight 147, and we're in luck, we're going to see it land over here. It's been a while, it is a standard livery, but it is the new livery, so do look at the tail in particular where you can see the difference. Now, if we are lucky, we did see a go-around of the A380 before. Wouldn't be too bad if they did go around again, and provided that they are going to do the 2nd attempt on this runway. Look at that, it is a crabbing A380. Just to show you a bit of perspective, let me also show you the ground. So this is Emirates flight 147, standard livery, but the updated standard livery. She's underway now for 6 hours and 31 minutes. This airplane, 8 years old, first flight October 2014. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, that was a solid landing. Also look at the tail. At the tail you can see the logo, it has been renewed a little bit. So even though it is a standard livery, it does, to me it is a bit special because it is the first time I'm seeing it in real life. Now, we do have a few more heavies that are coming this way, including an Aero Mexico Dreamliner that is now number 2 after an E2 Embraer 195. So I am going to stick around for a bit longer because the heavies are also nice to capture. Over here we have Oh, we had another gust of wind. Over here we have KLM flight 1444, E2 Embraer 195 arriving from Aberdeen. And that's the first time I'm noticing any significant usage of the reverse thrust, and to me it sounded a lot like the GE90s. It sounded a bit like the spooling, the winding down of that you also hear when the GE90s have been used to have been when the thrust reverser of the GE90 has also been applied and they stop using it. Next up, Aeromexico flight 25, arriving from Mexico City. A 7878 Dreamliner that departed from Mexico City 9 hours and 54 minutes ago. This airplane, 9 years old, first flight October 2013. Still waiting for them to send the Quetzalcoatl special livery again to the Netherlands. I have seen it before, but not when I was rolling the camera. Now we have two narrow bodies and then we have an A330 from Turkish. I am looking out a bit further and I think I am going to wrap it up after the A330 from Turkish. Look at that, 3 airplanes, you can see them all. And you think maybe the bottom one in the background is nearer by, but it is actually the top one that is closest by. So nice to see. Right, so up close, KLM flight 1666. Boeing 737-800 arriving from Barcelona after an hour and 46 minutes of flight. This airplane is 24 years old. First flight of this airplane was in January 1999. One wheel, two wheel, and there is the third. Gentle, careful, well executed. Classical KLM style, keeping up the speed, continuing on the runway, roll out on the runway, leave, vacate at a later exit, and make the time to the gate as short as possible. Hey there, Serge, checking in from Tunisia. Good afternoon to you, my friend. Hope you are enjoying yourself. So these are the last 2 planes visible right now, ladies and gentlemen. In the foreground, an Embraer 175 arriving from Nantes, and in the background, a Turkish A330 arriving from Istanbul. And Lance, you have missed the cameo of 2 duck families. We saw 2 mama ducks with ducklings, one nearby and with older ducklings, and one a bit further up the stream with smaller ducklings. They did do a cameo simultaneously, and within 5 minutes they were all gone again. Ninja ducks, I don't know where they go into hiding, but the one moment they were there and the other minute they were gone. But I think we can establish with more certainty that ducks are not early birds but more night owls. They did only appear around noon, maybe just before, I think. It was already late in the morning. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you the last airplane of today. Turkish Airlines flight 1957. It is an Airbus A330-200. She is arriving from Istanbul after 2 hours and 57 minutes of flight. The airplane you are now looking at is 14 years old, had its first flight in August 2008. Really have to keep everything locked on the tripod if you don't move, otherwise the wind will move the camera for you. Right, as Jeremy Clarkson would say, and on that bombshell it is time to end. I am going to wrap it up for today. Thank you all so much for joining again. I had a blast and I hope you guys did too. If you're new to the channel and you like what you saw, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. It will tremendously help me reach more people such as yourselves who are also into aviation content such as this. Plus you'll be able to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live again, you get notified, and if you have the time for it and are feeling like it, can join me for more live streaming action from the ever bustling Schiphol airport. I go out typically between Thursdays and Mondays, weather permitting. I try to go out almost every day then. I am looking to go out again next Thursday, so hope to see you then. Thanks to all who were so kind to donate super chats, super stickers, super likes. Members, new members, welcome. Thanks for your support. Gifted memberships, you guys are the best. Thank you so much all, and be safe. Enjoy the rest of your week. Hopefully I will see you again on Thursday. If not, maybe during the upcoming weekend. And take care for now, and goodbye.